scheduled coronavirus-impacted Olympics, it is not the traditional torch relay running through the streets. The opening ceremonies are just getting underway. They'll culminate with the lighting of the Olympic cauldron. But how interested are Japanese people who are living under a state of emergency in Tokyo?
Protesters demanding the resignation of various Japanese Olympic officials, and it's a sentiment that many of their countrymen share. Recent polling by the Asahi Shimbun newspaper showed that 55% of Japanese oppose holding the Games, 33% support it. But that doesn't mean the host country isn't interested. The same survey found that 56% intend to watch at least some of the events. Jim Ryan, ABC News at the Summer Olympics in Tokyo.
Pfizer and BioNTech announced this morning they will supply the U.S. government with an additional 200 million doses of coronavirus vaccine. Elected officials are trying to convince more people to get vaccinated. Asked Thursday if a mask mandate could return to Alabama, the state's governor, Kay Ivey, said,
I want folks to get vaccinated. That's the cure. That prevents everything. Why we want to mess around with just temporary stuff?
Face coverings will be mandatory in public schools in Boston, Atlanta, and Chicago when they reopen next month. Asked if mask guidance from the federal government could change, CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky said Thursday.
We are always looking at the data as the data come in. Our guidance has been clear since we put it out several months ago.
President Biden hits the campaign trail later. He goes to Virginia to stump for the state's gubernatorial candidate, Terry McAuliffe. Firefighting crews are making progress against the bootleg fire, the largest wildfire in the nation that's burned a large area of southern Oregon. You're listening to ABC News.
Paid for by government.com.
Have you heard? A recent stash of 1887 $5 Gold Liberty coins has been found. These gorgeous 1887S gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 15 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Just call government at 1-800-973-3083, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1887 $5 Gold Liberty featuring the iconic S Mint mark of the San Francisco Mint. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These 1887 gold coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 134 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-973-3083. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-3083 now to secure your 1887S Gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-973-3083.
Some lawmakers in Washington are looking to put new restrictions on social media platforms like Twitter or Facebook. Senate Democrats are now proposing a measure that would strip them of protections against liability if they allow health misinformation to spread. Right now, they are protected against being sued over content posted by users. As the Delta variant of COVID-19 spreads fast in Israel, the prime minister is putting new rules in place for people who refuse to get a vaccine shot.
Israel's prime minister reprimanding the nearly 1 million citizens who refuse to get vaccinated, saying they're, quote, endangering all Israelis. That as the Delta variant continues to drive up infections here. Naftali Bennett barring the unvaccinated from entering all events, outdoors or indoors with over 100 people, unless they show a negative COVID test. Bennett also forcing the unvaccinated to pay out of pocket for those PCR tests, and vaccine refusers who travel abroad must quarantine for 7 days upon their return, no matter what the destination. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Investigators in Minnesota are looking for the cause of a home explosion north of Minneapolis. One person was killed, 2 more were hurt. LeBron James has done something no basketball player has ever done, become a billionaire while still playing. Most of his wealth comes from investments and endorsements. This is ABC News.
If the pandemic's taught us anything, it's that the easiest way for germs to get into your body is the nose. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, and germs that cause congestion, colds, and flu, so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. Experience Navage at zero risk. Go to Navage.com, buy Navage, and use it for a month. If you're not delighted, return it for a full refund. There's nothing to lose and a lifetime of better breathing to gain. Navage, Navage.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
The reasons more and more people are coming to NC Tractor to do business are the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors, Bobcat zero-turn mowers, fantastic customer service, and the special Phil Sheehan seasonal discounts. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford is making dreams come true for folks who want the wrist.
Good morning, everyone. We made it to a Friday. We could see some patchy fog around the area for your morning commute, though this afternoon we'll see a partly cloudy sky still. High clouds with us as some smoke is still in that sky. Could see a stray shower storm today, but most areas will stay dry with highs in the upper 80s and near 90. Stray shower storm also possible for Saturday, highs in the upper 80s and near 90 once again. We're drier on Sunday with more rain early next week. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Looks like early next week after about Monday night when we have a 60% chance of thunderstorm activity. From Tuesday all the way through Thursday and Friday of next week, it looks like it's going to be mostly sunny, no rain, but hot. 93 on Wednesday of next week. So we got hot weather yet in front of us for the next few weeks anyway, because it is indeed summertime. We also have that air quality alert in effect until midnight tonight, so keep that in mind as you're out and about breathing in this air. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the second hour of the morning wake-up call. Glad to have you with us this morning. Now, I have these death announcements. Jane Shelton Stembridge, 85, of Hendersonville, died Wednesday at Pardee Hospital. In keeping with her wishes, Jane's ashes will be scattered in the waters of the western North Carolina mountains. The Paget and King Mortuary and Crematory is in charge of those arrangements for Jane Shelton Stembridge. Barbara Jean Rich Miller, 75, of Ellenboro, died Tuesday, July 20th. A casual gathering of family and friends will be held Sunday, July 25th at Crow's Mortuary in Rutherfordton from 3 p.m. until 5 p.m. with Reverend Sam Burleson officiating. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is assisting the family of Barbara Jean Rich Miller. Chastity Putnam, age 30, of Cliffside, passed away Monday, July 19th. A funeral ceremony to celebrate Chastity's life will be conducted today, 7 o'clock tonight, at Harrelson Funeral Chapel. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to service time at the funeral home. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services has been entrusted with the arrangements for Chastity Putnam of Cliffside. Barbara Jo Winters Sheehan, 79, of Rutherfordton, died July 18th. A family service and burial will be held at the Western Carolina State Veterans Cemetery in Black Mountain for Barbara Jo Winters Sheehan. Ginger Paget Guy, 58, of Forest City, died Wednesday, June 30th at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. A service to celebrate her life will be held Saturday, July 24th at 11 o'clock in the First Baptist Church of Forest City. The family will receive friends following the service at the church. Burial will be private for the family in the Cool Springs Cemetery. Paget and King Funeral Home serving the family of Ginger Paget Guy. Justin Dean Tipton, age 32, of Forest City, passed away Thursday, July 15th. A private service to celebrate Justin's life will be conducted, and Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with those arrangements for Justin Dean Tipton. Thomas E. Morrow, age 93, died Tuesday in the Wilmington, North Carolina area. He was a former resident of Spindale. Those arrangements are still incomplete and will be announced by the Paget and King Mortuary for Thomas E. Morrow. Gary Warren Webster, longtime resident of Atlanta, passed away July 7th in Forest City. A celebration of life service will be held at Beaufort Presbyterian Church in Sugar Hill, Georgia, Saturday, July 24th at 2 p.m. And the Paget and King Mortuary and Crematory is in charge of those arrangements for Gary Warren Webster. Those are the death announcements we have in-house this morning. For the complete information on these and others as they become available to us can be heard this morning at 11:35 and then again at 5:10 as part of the afternoon report here on the Most Information for the Foothills, 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB in Rutherfordton. Join us now for the Bill O'Reilly update. We'll get to the Chronicles of the Old West and into the phone calls, all straight ahead here on WCAB's Morning Wake Up Call. Braves won last night 7-2. Owls games tonight on the radio.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up from the NRIA.net studios in New York. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. Investors, Bill O'Reilly here. Are you sitting on capital or wanting to diversify? The NRIA Real Estate Development Fund provides returns right now. They capitalize on strategic markets. They offer payouts of 10% annualized returns plus bonuses up to 21%. They are a 15-year industry leader who have seen it all. Start your due diligence at nria.net or call 800-800-1414. That's easy. 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
On this Friday, I am now going to run down President Biden's favorite phrases. I am doing this purely for entertainment purposes. But here we go. His favorite phrase, Joe Biden's favorite phrase, guess what? Second, what in fact? Third, by the way. Fourth, not being facetious. Fifth, I really mean it. Sixth, not a joke. This is not a joke. And of course, the president's signature phrase, here's the deal. Now, Mr. Biden loves saying those words. I don't know why, but he says them over and over and over, just like I said, over. No joke. I'm not being facetious. We all have speech patterns. All human beings do. And most of us, unfortunately, use cliches like, come on, man. And at the end of the day, oh, don't say at the end of the day, please. But President Biden is in a class by himself when it comes to word overload. And that's the deal. I'm not being facetious. Now this. This year marks 20 years since September 11, 2001. And the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been supporting America's heroes ever since that terrible day. When a first responder or military service member does not return home, Tunnel to Towers pays off the mortgage to lift the financial burden and bring their families some stability. Donate just $11 a month to make a difference at T2T.org. That's T2T.org. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
The best of both worlds. WCAB 100.9 FM, 590 AM. Playing the classic oldies.
You've heard it said, he's a diamond in the rough. Or maybe, diamonds are forever. Here's something else I've learned about diamonds. They're just pieces of coal put under pressure for a long, long, long time. So when I start feeling like I want to give up, I think about that little piece of coal. And if that piece of coal can make something of itself by not giving up, so can I. Persistence is in you. Pass it on. From passiton.com.
Owen Wester was born in Pennsylvania on July 14, 1860. After graduating from Harvard, he embarked on a music career. Because of bad health, he took a trip out west. Owen spent time in Wyoming where he fell in love with the Western lifestyle. He did some writing about the area and the people he fell in love with, cowboys and the Old West. In 1902, Owen Wester published The Virginian. Prior to this, Westerns were written in a format called dime novels. They were paperbacks that sold for 10 cents, full of action and theatrics that barely resembled actuality. Even though some of them were based on actual characters like Buffalo Bill Cody and Wild Bill Hickok, the heroes were a combination of Batman, Superman, and all the other superheroes. The Virginian became a model for later Western novels. It made the cowboy a folk hero and legend. It had a style that came to be accepted as authentic. Owen Wester established the cowboy's attitude with words like, his broad, soft hat was pushed back, and one casual thumb was hooked in the cartridge belt that slanted across his hips. And then there was the classic line that was delivered after the villain called the hero an SOB. When you call me that, smile. Owen saw the cowboy as a hero. He even refused to wear chaps when he lived in the West because he didn't feel he was entitled to that badge of a real cowboy. Although Owen Wester wrote other novels and short stories, the Virginian remained the highlight of his writing career until his death on July 21st, 1938. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
For a rootin' tootin' great meal, let Jesse James prepare your next lunch. He's got a menu chock full of fresh cooked burgers, fresh salads, hot dogs made any way you like, taco salads, specialty burgers, sandwiches, french fries, and onion rings. Enjoy refreshing milkshakes, Coke floats, or a cone of hand-dipped ice cream. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 4, closed Wednesdays and Sundays. Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton. Call 447-4644. And don't forget the 99-cent hot dogs with mustard, chili, and onions on Mondays only.
Now it's 7:16. Let's check in now with the Sheriff's Department, get the report from there. And Deputy Butron is on duty this morning to give us that news. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Good, sir. How are you doing?
Doing great. Tell us what's been going on over there.
In the past 24 hours, the Sheriff's Office has responded to 178 calls for service. Jails processed 14 arrests, and there's currently 193 detained in the county jail. For incident reports, Cale Gwynn reported a misdemeanor larceny. Robert Luckadoo reported a break and enter and a larceny after. James Rufus McCurry reported a larceny of a motor vehicle. Robert Roper reported a simple assault. For arrest reports, Joseph Savon Reynolds was served as an order for arrest for a failure to appear on a misdemeanor. Timothy Lee Roop was charged with resisting a public officer and assault with a deadly weapon. Ryan Roper was charged with simple assault. Mitchell Martin was served as an order for arrest for habitual felon. Donald Strange was served with a warrant for second-degree trespass, and that's all we've got.
Deputy Butron, thank you very much, and I hope you have a safe weekend.
Thank you, sir.
7:10 after the hour, 7 o'clock, as we make the circle around the county this morning to find out what's going on.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
And here's Amber with 911 to tell us about the phone calls. Amber, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Tell us what kind of calls you received.
In the past 24 hours, Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications has processed 491 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 45 calls for EMS and 24 for rescue. For law enforcement, there were 178 calls for the Sheriff's Office, 71 for Forest City, 9 for Lake Lure, 46 for Rutherfordton, and 55 for Spindale. For fire calls, Bills Creek responded to a fire investigation. Forest City responded to a structure fire with Cliffside SDO and Sandy Mush assisting. Fairfield responded to a motor vehicle accident. Rutherfordton responded to a motor vehicle accident. And Spindale responded to a motor vehicle accident. That's all we have.
Thanks so much. You have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Bye. Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, and Supply is a variety store. Here's why I say that. Cedar shavings, 5.0 cubic feet, $7.99 per bag. They have Pontiac red potatoes, candy baked potatoes, $18 for 50 pound. River Run dog food, specially priced. Plenty of horse quality hay. Refill propane, $10.99 for a 20-pound tank. Wrangler sweet feed, $8.69 for the 50-pound bag. Cardinal tissue and paper towels, 6-pack, $4.49. Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, and Supply is the largest farm supply store, and you should come and see how much you can save. 188 Whiteside Road, Rutherfordton. And Ruby Taylor's reporting from Danieltown, SDO, Shiloh, Danieltown, Oakland Fire District. Ruby, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay.
Good. Tell us what's on your report.
Well, the fire department had one call, and they assisted Far City with a house fire. I don't have any birthdays today. And tomorrow I got Aaron Kite. Hope he has a good birthday tomorrow. Then Brian Cole Sunday. I hope he has a nice day. Signs are in the legs today, tomorrow, and then the feet Sunday. And that's all I've got.
Thanks, Ruby. Enjoy your weekend.
You too.
Bye. Well, we have a double-header Owls game, and we'll pick up part of the first game. They'll start about 4:30, I believe, and we'll have the afternoon report, and then we'll go right into that game, and the second game is following that. It's a doubleheader between the Owls and the High Toms. They were rained out the other night, so they're having to make that one up, and they're doing that tonight. Doubleheader with the Owls and Toms, and join us. They're on the road. Join us for that live broadcast following the call-around afternoon report. Braves won last night 7-2. Braves play also tonight, and we'll keep you posted on those scores also. I'm happy to share good news with you. If you have a septic tank on your property, you'll be glad to know there is a new professional pumper in town, Mid-South Pumping, owned and operated by one of our own, John Torvinen. Mid-South Pumping serves local communities such as Rutherford, Polk, Cleveland, McDowell, and Lake Lure, offering a wide variety of services at affordable prices. Get it done before summer gets here and really gets bad, if you know what I mean. Mid-South Pumping offers around-the-clock services to ensure your business doesn't become everyone else's. Count on Mid-South Pumping for pumping septic tanks, locating services, uncovering septic tank lids, and more. Make that call to Mid-South Pumping in Rutherfordton at 828-755-6280. 7:21, and we're talking to Gary Wilson up at Fairfield Mountains Fire District. Gary, with this hot, dry weather, it's a great weekend for folks to be careful around campfires, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going to have to dodge a shower or two here and there. We had some come through yesterday up here. We kind of caught the back edge of it up here, I think, at my house. But sound like back down towards 74 and number 9, maybe even Bills Creek Road over in there. We'll get some pretty good thunder boomers. We had a couple of lightning strikes. It was pretty close. But
oh, yeah?
No problems from it. Yeah, we had them come in here all of a sudden and started getting thunder and lightning in here, and I thought we was going to get a deluge here, but we ended up getting about 1,500 to an inch of rain. It didn't rain long. It rained hard for a few minutes, but get a bit of lightning and thunder in the area going on yesterday afternoon late.
No rhyme or reason as to where and when it's going to rain, is there?
Yep, like the old fella used to say up here, said it rains on the just and unjust, and sometimes on Bells Creek. So just have to take it when we get it, I guess. But other than that, it was fairly quiet. We had a couple of calls yesterday. Had a wreck call and with one minor injury, and then we had a fall call with a head injury, and that was our 2 calls for the day yesterday. And then last night, everything was quiet overnight, and sitting on about 70 degrees right now. Sun trying to break through them clouds. It's still a little bit on the cloudy and foggy side up here. And got one announcement that's coming Sunday at 3 o'clock at the Bills Creek Fire Department. They'll be dedicating their new station to memory of their chief, Jim Howell, who passed away last November. And hope everybody can come out and attend that. And fire departments are all invited to come and bring a truck from each department if they'd like, and help them commemorate this. And other than that, everything else is going along pretty good up here this morning, I guess, Jim.
Well, Gary, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great weekend. Be safe up there, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, you have a good one.
Thanks.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush. Brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
Well, tomorrow's a big day for downtown Forest City and for everybody, really. It's the Rutherford County Farm Museum celebrating its reopening tomorrow from 10 a.m. until 3 o'clock. They have free hamburgers, hot dogs, and soft drinks. The Farm Museum is located just beyond the Pops Pavilion in Forest City. The museum is at 142 Park Square Extension and is a place everyone should visit, especially Saturday during reopening from 10 until 3. Walk back in history and reminisce about years gone by and remember the great history of Rutherford County with this Farm Museum. Enjoy a hot dog or hamburger with friends and family at the Rutherford County Farm Museum tomorrow between 10 and 3, 142 Park Square Extension, just beyond the Pops Pavilion in Forest City. Now we're on the phone with Bob Hodge from the Hudlow Fire District. Bob, good morning.
Well, good Friday morning.
Bob, did you ever do any farming when you were growing up?
Oh, yeah. That's how I bought my first car. I raised some cotton and sold it there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, 1946 Chevrolet.
Oh, boy. You were proud of that, I bet.
Oh, yeah. I was in high school about last year, about 12th grade in school there. So,
yeah. That raising cotton and picking cotton was not for sissy folks, was it?
That's right there. I've done a lot of cotton picking there, and when I was small. So, but we don't have that anymore. So, the boll weevils got to run the cotton out after a few years there. So
yeah, and those who do they have these big machines that do all the picking for them.
Well, it's big corporations does the farming nowadays, and it looks like. But I still try to do a little gardening yet and stuff
good.
Like that. But I leave the big farming to somebody else now.
Yeah, the big guys.
That's right. Well, Jim, up here with the fire department overnight, it's been quiet. We hadn't had any fire calls, and everything's running along quiet up here this morning, and ain't too much to report. So you have a good weekend.
Thanks, Bob. I hope you and Imogene have a good weekend as well. Be safe over there, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Come take advantage of the springtime sales event and get the automobile you've been wanting. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. Now at 7:28, let's head over to the Cherry Mountain Fire District reporter, and that's Sue Price reporting in this morning. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Jim.
You doing okay today?
I'm doing okay, if you are.
Yeah. Did you do any farming when you were growing up, Sue?
Well, Grandpa did a little bit, just not a whole lot.
No.
But we had a garden and had raised a lot of our own food.
Well, we appreciate all those folks who are still in the farming business and have those big
That's
farms
right.
and growing the vegetables for us. We appreciate them, and that's hard work.
It is.
Dairy farmers and chicken farmers and vegetable farmers, we don't know what they go through every day.
I know. Well, let's see. I didn't have any calls from the fire department. I have one birthday today on my personal calendar, and that's for Tim Callahan. So I hope Tim's going to have a good day today, and we hope anybody that's having a birthday or anniversary will have a real good day on their special day. It's just a little bit cloudy, though, get out there this morning. Maybe we'll get some rain later on. Have that one announcement. The Piney Mountain Boys will be at Duncan's Creek Sunday morning during the worship service. And that's the only announcement I have so far. I know we've got a benefit coming up next month for a little girl, so I'll try to get a flyer on that and be able to announce that. She's having a lot of health problems. And yes, that's all I got this morning, Jim. It's just quiet and calm over this way, looking for a good day and a good weekend, and hope you and Faye all have one.
Thanks. So you have a great weekend as well, and I'll check with you next time.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Jim, have you seen Henson Building Materials' newly remodeled showroom? It's gorgeous.
You mean where they have a full line of hardware and building materials for homeowners and home builders?
I mean where Jamie, Terry, and Tony, their friendly staff, treat me like family. Oh, they're so nice.
Hey, are they taking COVID precautions and have curbside service?
Of course. They're so thoughtful.
I do need some materials, but I don't think they'll fit in our car.
Oh, silly. They have professional delivery so we can get whatever I want.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street in Forest City.
Building starts here.
Another season has come and gone, and you're still looking at that same sad-looking sofa or recliner. Well, now's the time to change the inside of your home to look as pretty as the spring and summer colors outside. And the perfect place to start is the Recliner Center. Right now at the Recliner Center, everything is 20% off. That's 20% off sofas, recliners, sofa recliners. If someone you love is having trouble standing, the Recliner Center has all lift chairs on sale for 10% off. All lift chairs, 10% off. Now, some of these chairs can take you from a standing position, then safely back down to a sitting position with no effort on your part whatsoever. Angela is cleaning out merchandise to make room for more. So now's your chance to redecorate your home and take advantage of the great savings at the Recliner Center. All lift chairs, 10% off. Everything else is 20% off. Angela is seeing folks by appointment only, so call 828-395-3562. Call her today. The Recliner Center. They're on Cooper's Gap Road in Rutherfordton.
Now it's 7:32. Let's welcome Tina White to the microphone to give us a report from Shingle Hollow. Tina, I know you never did do any farming when you were growing up.
Well, you're mistaken.
Oh, yeah? You did something?
You know, I was raised in Golden Valley. We had gardens, and we had a few cows and pigs, and I always cried when they had to
Send them
take
to slaughter.
those to be slaughtered. Yes.
Yep.
It was. I'd stay in the in the house.
Yep.
But yeah, I didn't like it when I was a kid. But now I'm thankful that I know how to do those things and that I have lived that life.
Yeah. My mom would always make me stay in the house when they were getting ready to slaughter. They would slaughter our hogs out back. And they didn't take them to the slaughterhouse at that point. And she'd always make me stay in the house because she didn't want me to see that. So, but I could hear that. I could hear that hog squealing when they get ready to slaughter it. But I did.
Yeah.
When they put the bacon, when they put the bacon and ham on the table, I didn't think any more about it.
My grandfather, I remember them slaughtering hogs and boiling the water and all that stuff, but I don't remember hearing the pig cry or squeal or anything. They must have done it quickly. But now when I was a teenager, and Arnold was, of course, our pig's name, and I should have never named him. I was the one who fed him the slop and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I didn't like it. I knew it, but I still didn't like it. You know, it was just one of those things.
Go ahead.
Like you said, I liked eating the sausage and the liver mutts and the bacon, pork chops.
Was your Arnold as smart as the Arnold on TV show that they named their pig?
I
Arnold?
thought he was. I thought he was.
What's going on in Shingle Hollow?
Well, Shingle Hollow this morning, it's 69 degrees on the front porch. Shingle Hollow Fire Department helped Sugar Hill yesterday. They had a funeral for one of their firefighters, so Shingle Hollow went to stand by, and there was a industrial fire up there, so they took care of that. I'm very thankful that they help each other. And Green Hill was quiet. On Piney Knob's birthday calendar, we have Pat Stouffer and Kinley Waters, nobody on Pleasant Grove. On my personal birthday calendar, I have a little cousin, Lane Mullinax. He turned 7 today. Just love him and hope they all have a great birthday today. Piney Knob Baptist Church is having Vacation Bible School Monday, July 26th through Friday, July 30th. At 5:30, they will serve a meal. 6 begins the classes, and everyone is invited for that. Then at Piney Knob, also on Monday, August 1st through Wednesday, August 4th at 7 p.m., Brother Alan Laws will be bringing the message. They're having revival. So that's wonderful. And they said prepare a little early. Sunday, August 22nd at Piney Knob, the John Lancaster family will be singing in the p.m. service, which is 6 p.m. And for tomorrow, Mountain Creek Baptist Church is getting ready to party. They're having a summer block party from 6 to 8 p.m., live music, hot dogs, magic show, and fun for the entire family. So everybody come out for that. And then Pilgrim Way Baptist Church at 485 Hamilton Road, Rutherfordton, is having revival / Vacation Bible School. Everyone is invited. Sunday, August 1st through Wednesday, August 4th at 7 p.m. each night. Evangelist Mike Bagwell of Tunnel Hill, Georgia, will be bringing the message. And Bible school will be from birth to 8th grade. And there also will be a special singing each night. So everyone's invited for that. And that's all I've got this morning so far.
All right, Tina. I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
You too, and I will talk to you Monday.
See you.
Everybody stay safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Let me brag on Hutchins Pest Control a minute. Don't let the pest bug you when Hutchins Pest Control is as close as a phone call. Honest, dependable, professional, and on-time service may be the reason they keep getting voted best pest control. If you have a pest problem, call this family-run business at 287-5171. Licensed in North and South Carolina and fully insured and bonded. Get a free estimate when you call Hutchins Pest Control and be sure the job is done right. That's Hutchins Pest Control. Call them today at 287-5171 and they'll be right there. Are we moving up to the Union Mills now to get a report from our Union Mills reporter? That would be Brenda Kelly, and we'll have her on right now as soon as I get that line switched in. Good morning, Brenda Kelly.
Good morning, Jim Bishop. How are you on this fabulous Friday morning?
Glad it's finally Friday, friend.
I'm telling you.
Did you ever do any farming, Brenda?
Yes. Cotton, oh, I hated it.
Did you hand pick the cotton?
Yeah, well, of course we didn't have.
That's rough on your fingers, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and if we didn't get it all picked for it was time to frost, we had to go out there and pick the cotton bolls off and put them in a big old sheet of some kind and carry them into the hallway of the barn, and we'd sit out there and pick it out after that. The next day we'd go out there because Daddy depended on that cotton to help pay the bills.
Sure. Now, where was your cotton field?
Down there, well, it's in the city now. You know where, into Spindale Street.
Yeah.
Just before you get...
before you get to Whiteside Road?
Coming up Whiteside Road and turning up Spindale Street.
Yeah.
It's the second house on the right.
So
and Daddy had 9 9/10 acres out there, and it went all the way down to the Hollins Creek behind, like you was going to go back toward Whiteside Road.
It takes a lot of cotton to weigh anything, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
a lot of cotton.
And we raised all kind of vegetables, and Mom and Daddy raised 8 young'uns, so we had to do a lot of canning. And I can remember going down to Crow's Peach Orchard, and Mom would get 6 and 7 bushels of peaches, and we'd sit out there in the backyard and peel them peaches, and she'd can them. She'd send us out every morning to pick blackberries when the blackberries was in, and she'd make jams and jellies and then can blackberries to make pies with and everything. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Lord.
Yep. Makes you appreciate life today, doesn't
it? And Daddy always raised pigs, so we had ham and sausage and liver mush and tenderloin and all that, and I said, I didn't know back then. I thought only poor people eat that, but I've realized since I've got grown that country ham was a rich man's food.
Yes, that's right. Poor people couldn't afford to buy country ham.
No. So, and we had a granary, and Daddy would raise fields of corn, and we'd have to pick it and put it in the granary to feed the pigs and stuff with through the winter, and then we'd gather the fodder for the cows. We didn't let nothing go to waste.
Have you ever been through the Farm Museum in Forest City?
I don't think I have.
You would enjoy going through that. That would bring back a lot of memories because they've got some old cotton gins in there and all kinds of farm equipment from way back when. It's a great museum lined up, and they're going to have they're reopening tomorrow between 10 and 2 and free hot dogs and hamburgers. So if you've never been in it, you would enjoy walking down memory lane with those old farm equipment.
Yeah. I bet that's something to see.
It is.
But I tell you, farming what needs to get out there and have to hoe all that stuff and pull the weeds. And Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's see. I've got 66 degrees on the front porch. I don't have any birthdays or anniversaries, but I went out the door last night and I looked up and I said, gee, that moon's full. And I just now looked down and it's a full moon today or tonight or whatever.
It is, yes.
Yeah. Well, let's see. The neighbor's pantry needs help. This is at the old Gilkey School, and they pass out groceries on Friday one week and Saturday the next. They alternate. And if you can help with this, if you'll call Harry at 429-9075, he'll tell you all about what it is. And then the Union Mills Community Club on Tuesday, the 27th, will have a lunch at noon. That's at 12 o'clock. Bring a covered dish and bring a neighbor. Then we got Vacation Bible School Saturday, July the 31st, starts at 9 a.m. and goes to 2. This is at Far City Church of the Nazarene. Then on July the 31st, starting at 9:30 a.m. and going to 3 p.m., Corinth Baptist Church is going to have Vacation Bible School, and this is for ages from 3 up through the 6th grade, and this is at 767 Pinehurst Road, Ellenboro. And then on July the 31st, they're going to have a memorial service for my brother-in-law, Johnny Bolton. This will be at the First Baptist Church on Main Street in Rutland, and the service starts at 11 a.m. And other than that, no, wait, I still got another one. Country Breakfast Buffet, Saturday, July the 24th, 7 to 10 a.m., White House Community Center, 5408 Painters Gap Road, Union Mills, NC, 28167. Adults, $6. Children, 6 to 12, $3. Children 5 and under free. They got all kind of good food on the menu, and all proceeds go for the upkeep of the building. For booking, call Maria Deckard at 828-625-9240. And now that's got me covered.
All right, Brenda. I hope you have a great weekend.
You have a good one. We'll catch you later.
Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye. And we get to our final call this morning over to Ellenboro here in just a moment.
The best of both worlds. WCAB 100.9 FM, 590 AM. Playing the classic oldies.
You've heard it said, he's a diamond in the rough. Or maybe, diamonds are forever. Here's something else I've learned about diamonds. They're just pieces of coal put under pressure for a long, long, long time. So, when I start feeling like I want to give up, I think about that little piece of coal. And if that piece of coal can make something of itself by not giving up, so can I. Persistence is in you. From PassItOn.com.
Now at 7:43, we're stopping in Ellenboro this morning. Our bus stop there, and Luther Gilligan is the welcoming committee today. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great here on Friday morning.
Glad it's finally Friday, friend.
Well, the good thing about Friday is the weekend's coming up next.
That's right. Hey, did you ever did you ever do any farming when you were growing up, or did you live a rich life?
Did I do any farming when I was growing up?
Yeah, did you do any farming when you were growing up, or after you grew
Since
up?
I was 8 years old.
Really?
Yep.
What kind of
My
farming?
daddy had free labor.
That's the best kind, wasn't it? At least he
Yeah,
thought
that's
so.
right. He thought so. Anyway, they probably didn't think it was free. You had to feed me. I've been pitting with it all my life.
Yeah.
I learned on my own the hard way.
Well, you turned out to be a pretty good man after all that, so it must have been good for you.
Well, that's about all anybody said for me. He turned out pretty good. Not great, just pretty good. But we're having a good time down here this morning. It's quiet and nothing going on. Fire department was quiet all day yesterday and all last night. Didn't have anything going. There's just nothing going on. Everybody's just trying to get into work and get this last day over and have a good weekend. So if nothing else going on, you have a great day up there. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you Monday.
Thanks, Luther. Be careful over there, and I'll see you next.
All right, take care now.
Bye-bye. That's the Call Around Report this morning. Birthdays next. Birthdays and anniversaries for this 23rd of July. Call us now, Todd. Standing by, 287-3356. Birthdays, anniversaries for this Friday. We'll have to give you a big shout-out. That's coming up in just a moment.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Well, it's Friday night movie pizza night around your house, maybe. And if it is, make sure you get your pizza from Granny B's. They have a delicious Granny B's pizza combo you should check out. That's right, Granny B's pizza combo is delicious. You can choose from 13 different combinations. And if you'll order yours, you can call it in at 286-9012, and they can get that ready for you to pick up and take home for, if you have a Friday night movie and pizza night, then that'll be good. Or if you just want to have a pizza tonight, that'd be great as well. Granny B's combo pizza. Try it out and leave a little room for one of those Granny B's delicious daylight donuts. I know you will enjoy that. Happy birthday. We have Lane Mullinax of Sunshine celebrating birthday number 7 today. So, Lane, happy birthday and have a good one. Enjoy it. And thanks for letting us share your birthday. Lane Mullinax of Sunshine. Stand by. The Keys to Confident Living coming up here in just a few moments. We got a few things to talk about during the next segment as well. So, don't leave us.
In the movie Karate Kid, young Daniel asks Mr. Miyagi to teach him karate. Miyagi agrees on the condition that Daniel does not question his methods of instruction. Daniel shows up the next day eager to learn. But rather than some great lesson, Mr. Miyagi has him paint a fence using precise motion, up and down, up and down. After the fence is painted, Mr. Miyagi demonstrates the stroke he wants Daniel to use for scrubbing the deck. All the time, Daniel wonders what these things have to do with karate, but he says nothing. Next, Miyagi explains to Daniel the stroke that he wants him to use for washing and waxing 3 weather-beaten cars. Finally, Daniel reaches his limit. I thought you were going to teach me karate, but all you have done is to have me do your unwanted chores. The old man's face is flushed with anger, and he says, I have been teaching you karate. Defend yourself. Miyagi thrusts his arm at Daniel, who instinctively defends himself with an arm motion exactly like that used in one of his chores. Miyagi follows up with a strong kick, and again Daniel diverts the blow with a motion that he learned in doing the tedious work. After several similar exchanges, Miyagi simply walks away. He allows Daniel to discover for himself that the mundane and the repetitive actions of the chores were the means of developing his skills of defense. In a similar way, The repetitive acts of godly living and thinking prepare us to instinctively act when confronted by an attack to compromise our principles and morals. The Bible says, "Do not grow weary in doing good." This is Bill Hostler with today's key to confident living.
The best of both worlds. WCAB 100.9 FM, 5.
I'm Brian Clark. No fans in the stadium, but plenty of pageantry at the Olympics opening ceremony in Tokyo.
On a warm Friday night, fireworks lit up the sky over Tokyo as the opening ceremony of the Summer Olympics began. Even the arrival of the Olympic torch reflected the social distancing required by the current COVID outbreak. Only 950 seats in a 40,000-seat stadium were occupied as athletes from 205 countries march in. Outside the venue, demonstrators insist that the risk posed by the pandemic is just too great. One holds a sign featuring the Olympic rings modified with little spikes to resemble the coronavirus. Jim Ryan, ABC News at the Summer Olympics in Tokyo.
As coronavirus cases increase across the U.S., a large part of the increase coming in Florida, where new cases have gone up by almost 500% over the last month. Dr. Michelle Aquino says in her Jacksonville hospital, numbers are skyrocketing, and 99.9% of her hospital's patients have not been vaccinated.
They're getting sicker faster, and we're seeing a lot of these younger people in the ICU, and we're seeing deaths in younger people. When you see someone under 40 die because of COVID, when there's a vaccine they could have gotten to prevent it, that breaks your heart.
Some parts of California's Bay Area are recommending that employers make vaccinations mandatory. The NFL told players Thursday an outbreak among unvaccinated players would result in a team forfeit with no pay. President Biden will campaign today in Virginia for Terry McAuliffe, who's seeking a second term as governor. Meeting with union leaders Thursday, he campaigned for his administration's infrastructure proposals.
We were in a position where the United States invested more money in research and development 3-4 decades ago than any nation in the world. Now we're number 8.
Crews say they've made progress on the nation's largest wildfire, the Bootleg Fire in southern Oregon. You're listening to ABC News.
If you're drowning in IRS debt, please get ready to take down this number to take advantage of the new IRS tax forgiveness programs. The IRS has recently hired private debt collection agencies to start collecting your outstanding taxes.
Prior to calling Superior Tax Relief, I owe the IRS $33,000, and my wages had just been garnished. Superior Tax Relief put a stop to the garnishment and was able to resolve my tax problem. I walked away owing close to nothing. I would highly recommend Superior Tax Relief. They saved my life.
We can protect you from the added fees and negotiate your tax liability. Superior Tax Relief can set you free from your tax issues. Call Superior Tax Relief to find out how you can qualify for the Fresh Start program that's now available. Don't hesitate. Call today. 800-898-7771. That's 800-898-7771. The consultation is free. The information is free. This call could save you thousands. 800-898-7771. That's 800-898-7771. 800-898-7771.
The state of Mississippi has formally asked the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the Roe v. Wade decision. The request comes in a brief trying to persuade the court to allow Mississippi's law banning most abortions to stay on the books. The High Court has not yet set a date for arguments in the case. Flooding last week in Germany caused about $1.5 billion in damage to the country's rail system alone. That estimate comes today from the organization behind the railways. Officials there are still trying to come up with an overall damage estimate after torrential rain triggered flooding in western Germany and eastern Belgium that killed more than 200 people. Some areas of the U.S. are bringing back mask mandates, but airlines say they don't want new mask mandates when the current ones expire. ABC's Alex Stone has more.
On September 13th, current mask rules on board planes will expire, and while they could be re-implemented, Southwest CEO Gary Kelly, who is also chairman of the lobbying group Airlines for America, representing major U.S. airlines, said on an earnings call that Southwest and Airlines for America would not advocate for extending the mask mandate. He says they support following current CDC guidance that only the unvaccinated wear a mask. Last week, United CEO predicted the mask mandate on planes will end in September. Alex Stone, ABC News.
The Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers got their rings. They include 319 diamonds. This is ABC News.
If the pandemic's taught us anything, it's that the easiest way for germs to get into your body is the nose. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, and germs that cause congestion, colds, and flu, so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. Experience Navage at zero risk. Go to Navage.com, buy Navage, and use it for a month. If you're not delighted, return it for a full refund. There's nothing to lose and a lifetime of better breathing to gain. Navage, Navage.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
Hello and happy Friday. This afternoon, we'll see a mostly sunny to partly cloudy sky. Could see a stray shower or storm pop up, though most areas will stay dry. Our highs today will be in the upper 80s and near 90. Stray shower this evening, then dry for evening plans, and overnight tonight will be in the upper 60s and near 70s Saturday morning. Could see a few showers Saturday afternoon with highs in the upper 80s and near 90 once again. We're drier on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Thank you very much, Zach. Look forward to get to about 91 and our daytime high here in the foothills. Right now we are at 71, and the humidity is building up. The temperature is building up, and the haze continues to be out there. There is a advisory air quality alert for that factor. Nothing serious, nothing to be alarmed about, but just be aware of the fact that it is the air is contaminated with a little bit of that stuff from out west where the fire's going on. Meanwhile, it's 8:05, and we got some news from here and there coming up right after this.
Smith's Drugs of Forest City will once again sponsor the Meet Me at the Fountain 5K race on July the 24th. And this year's race will be a live event, pending no changes in the current downward trend of the new COVID cases. Go to www.facebook.com/meetmeatthefountain5K for more information and to get sponsorship forms. Beneficiaries this year are the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, Yoke Fellow, and the Chase Corner Ministries. And now the soda fountain is now fully open, and Smith's Drugs is no longer offering curbside for the fountain. However, the back door is still locked as Smith's Drugs continues curbside service for the pharmacy only. The COVID-19 vaccination is available Monday through Friday only, and walk-ins are welcome. Again, the soda fountain now open at Smith's Drugs. And don't forget the upcoming 5K race. So get your sponsorship forms at Smith's Drugs in Forest City.
Now, local news from here and there this morning. On the economic front, the American Zinc has been sold. Officials say that local jobs are safe as the transaction is not expected to impact the local economy. AZR, the Pittsburgh-based parent company of American Zinc Products, AZP, located in southern Rutherford County, has been sold. Luxembourg-based Bafisa SA, I guess it is acquiring American Zinc Recycling for a reported $450 million. In addition, Bafisa will invest $10 million for a joint venture minority stake in the local zinc refining operation. AZP Industry Media has reported that Bafisa could eventually acquire all of AZP. AZR will operate under the Bafisa name. The facility here produces special high-grade and continuous galvanizing grade zinc using metal drawn from collected steel mill dust. AZP officials would not comment specifically on the allegation other than to say that they had not had the opportunity to see the scientists' findings. They was talking about the soap fish in the water supposedly contaminated downriver from Broad River. There, the research indicates toxic levels of metals found in AZP would not comment until they had seen the actual scientists' findings. They did, however, say the company operates with lead levels lower than permit allows. AZP is among Rutherford County's largest employers. Construction on the facility began in 2011, taking several years to complete at a cost of $550 million. It was then known as Horsehead. It first began operating in May of 2014, but never operated at full capacity. It underwent a bankruptcy, management changes, and redesign at a cost of over $150 million before the fire broke out on April 28, 2019. After investigations by local officials, the State Bureau of Investigation, and the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, the cause of the fire was officially undetermined and is believed to be accidental. The Rutherford County Cattlemen's Association recently awarded scholarships to two Rutherford County students, Kylie Bradley and Anna Kate Jackson. Bradley will attend North Carolina State University in the fall and plans on majoring in chemistry with a minor in animal science. She wants to pursue a career in pharmaceuticals for livestock. Bradley, who grew up on a family farm, has long had an interest in livestock. Her career path, she said, will allow her to continue to work with livestock while following her interest in medicine. Jackson is a student at North Carolina State University studying agricultural education with minors in animal science and horticultural science. She plans to teach agriculture at a high school level. Jackson said her hands-on involvement with the family farm, along with her involvement in the Future Farmers of America organization, played a role in her choosing agricultural education as a career choice.
This is the 11th year of Rutherford County Cattlemen's Association Scholarship Program, which began in 2011. The scholarships are each valued at $750. Congratulations to Kylie Bradley and Anna Kate Jackson on getting chosen for these scholarships. Well, we said they were threatening to do this, and we were unsure exactly if they were serious about it or not, but they are serious about it, folks. So be aware of the fact that it is in North Carolina. I talked about the folks knocking on your door, see if you've taken the vaccine. County government in Mecklenburg County training leftist activists to spearhead door-to-door vaccine program. County government training leftist activists to spearhead door-to-door vaccine program. Activists with a left-wing group have been trained by a state agency to go out and confront people at their homes about their vaccination status. WBTV TV reported in May that activists with the leftist group Action NC were trained by the health department in Mecklenburg County and then sent out in neighborhoods in Charlotte to invade the privacy of people. The stunning action is part of a 12-week initiative. The outlet cited a low vaccination rate for the approach, but that's only the first issue. Is it Mecklenburg County's business who is and who isn't vaccinated? Of course not. But what is worse is that the county used a political organization for this stunt. Who is Action NC, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you asked me that. Action NC's mission is to confront and reduce the root causes of poverty, underdevelopment, and social and economic inequality through grassroots education, training, organizations, and mobilization. That's according to what the website said. It goes on to say, we organize in poor and working income communities full of talented and committed people looking for an opportunity to work together to build a stronger and more secure future. We reach out to them in a variety of ways to offer them the opportunity to join, organize, fight, and win. Well, if you were still wondering if Action NC is a group of leftists, here's what they say about the so-called structural discrimination against women. Quote, times have changed, but while more women than ever are working outside the home, heading households and leading companies, workplace rules, standards, and wages have failed to keep up with the changing roles of women. Instead, corporations have stacked the deck against women and families, while companies maximize profits. Working women struggle to make ends meet and face discrimination on everything from no-cost birth control and pregnancy to salaries and promotions. Well, Action NC also claims women voters are front and center in today's political debates about the future of our country, but we know it will take more than female candidates for office to address long-standing gender inequity in our society and economy. Voters, constituents, advocates, and impacted women must take action in North Carolina and nationally to make equality a reality for women and the families who depend on them, end quote. Just last week, the group was on Twitter praising radical Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia. Thankfully, Senator Warnock is introducing a bill to put health care over wealth care and end the Medicaid coverage gap permanently. Last Wednesday, violent insurrection by almost all white males is a forceful reminder of why Action NC works to dismantle racism in our area. When white vigilantes commit violence, police stand by. When black organizers seek justice, police attack. Hashtag remove or resign. These people were trained by a government agency to go door to door and bother people about their private health information. One man with a group named Robert Dawkins told WBTV he attempted to convince a mother with natural COVID immunity to get vaccinated anyway. What I'm trying to get across to people like her that specifically have kids is since kids can't get the shot, it has to be your responsibility to get the shot to keep your kids safe, he said. So they're putting some pressure on folks as they go door to door, and it's happening in Mecklenburg County. It seems to me that would be, I guess, the law, HIPAA violation to talk to people about their medicine, what they've taken and what they haven't taken, why they haven't taken it, and when they're going to, those kind of things. But when the leftist organization gets hold of it, they do as they please. Doesn't matter whether it's against somebody's regulation or not, they'll do as they please, and then they'll argue at it. But I don't know where all that's going to end. But it's not going to end well, I'm afraid, when these leftist organizations come to your door and try to force you into taking a vaccine that you don't want to take. It's your right to take it. If you want to take it, take it. If you don't want to take it, that's your choice. But nobody should force that issue on you. And when this administration starts forcing people into things like that, it's a scary proposition. That's what dictators do. That's what communist governments do, force you into something at their will and not yours. We're seeing more and more of that leaning forward in terms of what they want us to do, not what you and I prefer doing. Just food for thought this morning. Well, I told you the other day, maybe it's yesterday, day before, I lose track of time sometime, but we talked about Ben and Jerry's, how liberal they are anyway before all this came up. But they decided they were going to stop selling ice cream in Israel. Well, Ben & Jerry's appears intent on destroying its bottom line not only in Israel but here in the U.S. because when it announced boycott of the so-called West Bank, on Monday the ice cream maker proclaimed it would no longer be selling the occupied Palestinian territory. Occupied Palestinian territory. A statement read in part, "We believe it is inconsistent with our values for Ben & Jerry's ice cream to be sold in the occupied Palestinian territory. We also hear and recognize the concerns shared with us by our fans and trusted partners," the statement read in part. "Although Ben & Jerry's will no longer be sold in the occupied Palestinian territories, they call it, we will stay in Israel through a different arrangement. We will share an update on this as soon as we're ready." Well, isn't that big of them? At least some Israelis can continue to partake in Ben & Jerry's. As a brief historical refresher, there never was a country of Palestine. What is currently known as the West Bank was part of Jordan prior to the Six-Day War in 1967. These folks have a way of wanting to rewrite history, erase out what they don't like, and claim something else. Notice how they do those things? Like now they're wanting to wipe away those things that they don't agree with, taking down our monuments, historically significant monuments. They want to rewrite history, teach things that are not relative to our society. And before that, it was controlled by the British following the collapse of the Ottoman Empire and the end of World War I. So to the extent that the West Bank is occupied, it's because Jordan and its Arab allies lost to Israel in 1967. Such is the nature of war. Besides the laws of war, Jews do have a solid claim on the land, including Jerusalem, going back to biblical times. So enough with the whole Israel is an occupying nation thing. It goes back to biblical times. We don't need to forget that part of it. As for the current ice cream controversy, Charles Mazzara, editor of Alpha Investor and host of the Charles Mazzara Show, told the Western Journal that Israeli law prevents Ben & Jerry's from trying to exclude its products from certain parts of the country. Not only is Ben & Jerry's boycott outrageous and blatant anti-Israel, it's illegal. Israeli law requires a local distributor to sell in all of Israel. The distributor doesn't have the option to pick and choose where their product is sold. Additionally, there are 35 U.S. states that have passed legislation making it illegal to boycott Israel. This also hurts the local economy, impacting both Israelis and Palestinians. It's yet another example of anti-Semitic activists pursuing their hate-filled agenda without any concern about who is really impacted. Several American grocers have responded to Ben & Jerry's boycott by pulling the company's product. They're pulling them out of the store. We're not selling Ben & Jerry's because of their attitude, because they're boycotting Israel. A.B. Kantner, co-owner of Morton Williams supermarket chain, located in the New York City metro area, was one who responded. He said, "Our supermarkets have taken action against Ben & Jerry's, which is boycotting Jewish communities that are the center of a territorial dispute in Israel, including the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem, inhabited by Jews for over 3,000 years. So if Ben & Jerry's not going to sell in Israel, we're not going to sell their product." So there you go. Boycotting on them, their products not being sold. And more people stop eating Ben & Jerry's ice cream as your simple protest. They might learn a lesson. Money talks, 19 past 8.
Enjoying music, hanging out with friends, church picnics, fishing, and playing in the creeks and streams of our beautiful mountains. This is summer in Western North Carolina. Getting vaccinated brings us one step closer to enjoying all of that and more. In fact, it's our best shot at getting back to normal. Let's give it a shot, WNC, and bring back summer together. Get vaccinated today. Visit myspot.nc.gov to find your best shot. That's myspot.nc.gov.
Imagine being surrounded by comfort. At Immaculate Heating and Air Conditioning, they offer ultimate home comfort by Coleman. They will install a Coleman high-efficiency heating and cooling system and handle any service and maintenance, all for one low monthly payment with zero out-of-pocket costs for 10 years. That's right, 10 years with no service or repair fees, no maintenance fees, no unexpected cost at all. Ultimate home comfort. It's more comfort all around. Contact Nathan Blackburn at 828-755-5788. That's 755-5788, or visit ImmaculateHeatingandAir.com.
Hello, this is Dwayne Hunt with Insurance Service Associates. Are you on disability? Or maybe you're on Medicare? Or maybe both? Come see me, Dwayne Hunt, at Insurance Service Associates about a Medicare Advantage product brought to you by Humana. Please give me a call, 245-5301, at Insurance Service Associates, 127 East Trade Street, Forest City.
Sheriff's Report with Deputy Butron coming up in just a few moments. It's just an interesting story here. John Tiedren walked out of jail on Thursday with a chance to clear his name after spending more than 3 decades behind bars for murder. It was a moment he thought would never come. But first of all, he said, I want to thank God, of course, and my attorney. A judge sent Tiedren away 18 years to life after his conviction. But last month, Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Judge Dick Ambrose granted him a new trial, saying investigators withheld evidence. Now, Tiedren is under house arrest, and here's the kicker in this whole story. He plans to marry the sister of the man police say he killed. Against all odds, Tiedren said when asked how such a relationship was possible, he said, God put us together. He asked me to marry him on New Year's Eve, and I said yes, recalled Crystal Strauss, his fiancée. The type of connection we have, people are not going to understand. He's suspected of killing my brother. Here I am marrying him. Ain't life funny. 22 past 8 o'clock. Deputy Butron was with us earlier. Reported to us from the Sheriff's Department. We have that recorded.
In the past 24 hours, the Sheriff's Office has responded to 178 calls for service. Jails processed 14 arrests, and there's currently 193 detained in the county jail. For incident reports, Cale Gwynn reported a misdemeanor larceny. Robert Luckadoo reported a break and enter and a larceny after. James Rufus McCurry reported a larceny of a motor vehicle. Robert Roper reported a simple assault. For arrest reports, Joseph Savon Reynolds was served an order for arrest for a failure to appear on a misdemeanor. Timothy Lee Roop was charged with resisting a public officer and assault with a deadly weapon. Ryan Roper was charged with simple assault. Mitchell Martin was served an order for arrest for habitual felon. Donald Strange was served a warrant for second-degree trespass, and that's all we've got.
When you want your ad dollars to reach the masses, call the sales team at WCAB. Call Tracy or Jim, 828-287-3356, 100.9 FM and 590 AM.
After 9 o'clock this morning, we take our walk down memory lane with classic oldies here on 100.9 FM, 590 AM. Join us with the classic oldies that you remember time going by. No duds, just classic oldies. Thanks for joining us for the morning wake-up call on this Friday. I'll be back with you Monday morning, bright and early. And Todd will be here in the morning to do the call-around and report. The Gospel Hour, so join Todd in the morning for that report. Right now, sports update. And following that, Word of Faith Fellowship radio program. Have a great weekend, folks. And go by to visit the Farm Museum this weekend if you can.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. Athletes from more than 200 nations are beginning the Olympic parade at Japan's empty National Stadium. CBS News correspondent Steve Futterman is there.
There will be many things that we would normally have at an opening ceremony. We will have, of course, the torch being lit. The games will be officially declared open. But things like the Parade of Nations with the athletes marching in, that will be different because we expect only a fraction of the athletes who usually take part to be at the stadium. And, of course, there will not be any fans.
Professional football is turning up the pressure on players to get the COVID vaccine.
The NFL is warning teams that they could forfeit a game if they have a COVID-19 outbreak among non-vaccinated players. And players on both teams would lose their pay for that week. The league also says it does not anticipate adding a 19th week for games that have to be rescheduled because of coronavirus. The league says more than half its teams have COVID-19 vaccination rates above 80%. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
And the Carolina Panthers among teams at the top of the list with the greatest number of players vaccinated. COVID-19, meanwhile, was a topic during day 2 of the ACC kickoff media days in Charlotte. NC State head football coach Dave Doran said he feels comfortable about the direction that his team has headed with regard to the virus and vaccinations.
Well, I think it is a learning opportunity. It's also a delicate topic. There are certain people that are against it, and I'm not a doctor. Can't mandate anybody to do anything. We're just trying to educate guys and make sure that if they choose not to do it, they understand all the different things that could happen. We're still awaiting, as you know, kind of what the medical guidelines are for our season for non-vaccinated personnel and players. And so there's a lot of unknowns still going on with this thing, and NC State baseball was an opportunity to watch, learn, and try to make sure that we don't have the same scenario if possible.
This is NCN Sports.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon, you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Dip into our new coconut cream pie ice cream and imagine being stranded on a deserted island. Rich coconut French ice cream, flakes of coconut, tasty pie crust pieces, and a whipped topping swirl loaded with toasted coconut. You won't want to be rescued.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Big 12 leaders held a call with Texas and Oklahoma on Thursday to discuss how to keep the league's flagship schools from bolting to the SEC and also contingency plans to survive without them if they do. The Big 12 put out a statement that reveals few details but made clear the 8 members are in danger of being left behind and want the Longhorns and Sooners to stay put. The NHL announced the upcoming NHL schedule last night on ESPN, realigning the teams back into their regular divisions for an 82-game regular season. The Canes are scheduled to open at home on October 14th against the New York Islanders. Same day, the NC State Fair opens. Meanwhile, the Canes announced yesterday they've traded goalie Alex Nedeljkovic to Detroit for unrestricted free agent goaltender Jonathan Bernier and a third-round draft pick in this weekend's NHL draft. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
Hello and happy Friday. This afternoon, we'll see a mostly sunny to partly cloudy sky. Could see a stray shower or storm pop up, though most areas will stay dry. Our highs today will be in the upper 80s and near 90. Stray shower this evening, then dry for evening plans, and overnight tonight will be in the upper 60s and near 70s Saturday morning. Could see a few showers Saturday afternoon with highs in the upper 80s and near 90 once again. We're drier on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
It's 8:30 and our temperature reading is 72 degrees. Clearing skies out there.
My name's Rich Dolan, and this is my wife, Lorraine. And God has been speaking to us about hearing his voice on an everyday scale, so we're not being deceived by the enemy and leading us astray. You know, this comes out of a relationship with God and knowing his voice by spending time with him and letting him speak to us by taking time to hear his voice. My first scripture is in Psalms 40, verse 6. And it says, sacrifice and offering you do not desire, nor have you delight in them. You have given me the capacity to hear and obey your law, a more valuable service than burnt offerings and sin offerings, which you do not require. And this is the thing that I wanted to really get across, is that he has given us the ability to hear his voice and obey. And all we've got to do is just have that relationship with him. You know, this relationship that we have with Jesus, you know, we both have had different experiences in walking with him and hearing his voice, and we both want to share what God has spoken to our hearts and the examples that he has given us. And there was a time when I had taken my children swimming, and before we went swimming, I had taken my wedding band off and put it in the cup holder of my car. And then when we got back from swimming, I never thought about the ring anymore. And then that was on a Saturday, and then came on Sunday. I didn't even think about it because I had another wedding band that I was wearing to church that day. So anyway, so it came Monday morning when I was getting ready to go to work, and on my way to work, I'd eat a sweet and salty bar, and I'd take the wrapper and I'd put it in the cup holder. So then when I got to work, I'd take my trash out of the cup holder and I'd go throw it in the dumpster. Well, I'm not thinking at all what's in the cup holder. And a few days later, I started looking for my wedding band, and I looked all over. I mean, I didn't remember I'd put it in the cup holder. And so I looked on my nightstand. I looked in my nightstand drawer. I have a briefcase that I would sit beside my nightstand, and I dumped it out, and I looked all through it. I mean, it was not in my briefcase. So I really started crying out to God and asking Jesus, show me, Jesus, show me where my ring is. Jesus, please show me where my ring is. And as I was driving to work, he started showing me. He showed me picking up the trash out of my cup holder and throwing it in the dumpster. And my stomach sort of sank then, because I'm like, oh, my ring's gone. It's gone forever. And I was like, oh, Jesus, forgive me. Forgive me, Jesus. And so I just started trying to hear what my next step was. And all I could hear was him say, just cry out to me. I'll bring it back to you. So I started crying out, Jesus, bring my ring back. I don't know how you can do this. I don't know where it's at now. Please, Jesus, bring my ring back. Well, I did that for, I don't know how many days, or it might have even been a week. I don't remember. But, several months later, we were on a trip out of town, and I'd gotten up. We were staying at a motel, and I'd gotten up that morning, and I had an urgency in my heart to look at my bag, to open my briefcase. And I went over and opened my briefcase. There was my ring. My ring was laying on top of the papers in my briefcase. Now remember, I dumped my whole briefcase out. But that's where, you just hear the voice of God, you cry out to him. If you miss it, you repent, and you just try to stay in peace. And, the devil comes and tries to tell you, oh, it's gone forever. And, I had to fight that at first. And I thought, no, I'm not listening to you, devil. Jesus, what do I need to do? And he brought that back for me. That was in a dumpster in South Carolina and had really no idea or what or where, where it would have been or anything like that. And, in Hebrews 4:16, let me read that. It says, "Let us fearlessly and confidently and boldly draw near to the throne of grace, the throne of God's unmerited favor to us sinners, that we may receive mercy for our failures and find grace to help in good time for every need, appropriate help and well-timed help coming just when we need it." And at each point of these things that we're going to share today of how God has just, spoken to our hearts and moved, and we've had miracles that, wouldn't have happened if we didn't hear his voice. One of the things that I wanted to share was I was driving a company truck, and we were going up Saluda Grade, and, if anybody knows, Saluda Grade's a steep one. And all of a sudden, the engine started cutting out, and I had to work my way over to the side of the road. And when I got over there, by the time I got over there, it had stopped. And it was one of those trucks without a front on it. And to look at the engine, you have to lift the whole cab up and over to look at it. Now, I'm not an auto mechanic, and but I opened it up. I thought, well, we got to look at it and see what's going on with it anyways. So we looked, and we looked for hoses, we looked for wires, we looked for anything that might be loose. And, I couldn't see anything that was wrong. And, I'm standing there, and the guys with me, they're all looking at it, and, nobody really has a clue. And I heard, just let the cab come down, just let it slam down. And I thought, that's okay, I'll do it, And so it has an arm that sort of bends in the middle that props it up. So I pulled that over, and I told the guys, I said, I'm just going to let this drop now, guys. Stand back. So I let it drop. And God said, get in and start it. I did, and it worked. To this day, I don't know what was wrong, but it worked, and we could, go on and do our work. The different situations that come out, that was, where we needed that help. I needed it then. And it says coming just when I need it, just when I need it. And, another situation, another example was I used to be a property manager, and when it would come to doing evictions and stuff like that, you have to have all your stuff just right. And if it's not a non-pay, and this was in South Carolina, if it was not a non-pay eviction, like if it was an eviction where someone had caused trouble or something like that, you really had to have all your ducks in a row, and everything had to be just right, or they wouldn't approve it. So I had a situation, and I had like 29 911 calls to this one apartment for disturbances. And so I went and got all the 911 calls, and I had my security guard that was involved in some of it that was going to be there, testify for me. Well, that week, or actually a week or so before that, he comes and tells me he's got jury duty that week. So he wasn't going to be there. And so I was trying to hear what to do. And these people had not paid their rent because they thought they might get evicted. So I heard the Lord speak to me the day before I was going to court. I went and filed eviction for them for non-pay on the Thursday before the Friday that we went to court. Just, I just kept hearing, you just need to go do this. And so I did. And then when I got into court and we went through the whole thing, the judge said that everything I had was circumstantial evidence. I didn't have anybody that was there that saw it or, had a part in it, and he threw it out. And, he sort of looked at me like, well, I'm sorry. And I told him, I said, well, it's okay because I filed eviction for non-pay yesterday. And he looks at me and goes, well, I'll see you next month then. So long story short, these people were causing problems there at the apartments, and God showed me the best way to be able to evict them because of the trouble that they were causing. And I have another scripture. It's in 1 John 5:14 and 15. And it says, and this is the confidence, the assurance, the privilege of boldness which we have in him. We are sure that if we ask anything, make any request according to his will, in agreement with his own plan, he listens to and he hears us. In verse 15 it says, and if, since we positively know that he listens to us in whatever we ask, we also know with settled and absolute knowledge that we have granted us our present possession, the request that we have made to him. So, anytime that we are crying out to God and trying to get hold of whatever his will is for that time, whether it's, for work that day or another situation, but whatever, the timing is, we have to know that God hears us and he runs immediately to our cries to help us. And then there was another situation where I'm doing remodeling right now, and I had 2 old bathtubs I had taken out, and I was trying to put them back in a space that really wasn't the same size. And I worked on these 2 days, and I just couldn't get anything to work. The plumbing wasn't right. They didn't fit right. There was old tile. Nothing was working right. And the 3rd day, I was done trying to do it in my own ability. And, I just laid down on the floor in that house, and I started crying out to God. And I repented. I said, Jesus, please forgive me. I've tried to do this out of my own, and nothing's working. Please, Jesus, please show me how to do this. And, within an hour and a half, I had both bathtubs in. And that's just because, I humbled myself. I repented. I heard his voice clearly, and everything worked out. And that's the way it is when you take your time to hear his voice. Lorraine, you have something?
Yes, I wanted to read some scriptures in Genesis 22. This is Abraham hearing God's voice to sacrifice his only son Isaac. He did hear the voice of God to do this, and he was going to obey. He prepared everything. He started on the journey. 3 days into that journey, he had taken 2 servants with him. 3 days into that journey, in chapter 22, verse 5, it says, and Abraham said to his servants, settle down and stay here with the donkey, and I and the young man will go yonder and worship and come again to you. Abraham had such a relationship with God. He knew he'd heard his voice. He knew he was going to obey him. But even with the last part of that verse, him saying, we'll go yonder and worship and come again to you, he also knew that even in hearing the voice of God to sacrifice his only son, that they both were going to return. I mean, he had such a close relationship with God. He knew he was going to take care of everything. You go on into that chapter, and Isaac's traveling with his dad, Abraham. He's looking around. He sees, we have the fire, we have the wood, but there's no lamb for a sacrifice. And in verse 8, he's asking Abraham about this. Verse 8, Abraham says, "My son, God himself will provide a lamb for the burnt offering." So the two went on together. Complete faith. Abraham, knowing he heard the voice of God, and many of us know this passage of Scripture. We know God did provide the lamb. Abraham went to the point, he stretched out his hand to take the knife, to slay his only son. Still believing God, knowing he heard his voice to do what he did. And it says the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven, and he stopped him. And there was the lamb that he could use for the burnt offering instead of his only son Isaac. I mean, even when we hear the voice of God, sometimes we may not understand why he would have us do a particular thing. But we can trust him. We hear his voice. If we'll just obey, God has hold of our life. We can trust him with our life. I had a situation where I had an instance that happened in my life. At the time I was working in the public school system. We lived in a different area at the time, not here. And we had a lady come to our school. She was offering supplemental insurance policies that you could sign up for. They're relatively inexpensive. Seemed like they covered a lot. She knew that I had a child coming soon, and she had offered me an insurance plan that would cover us if for some reason, something happened where the child came early. Well, I was physically doing fine, very active, taught PE at least 3 times a week, sometimes 4 or 5. Nothing wrong with me at all. Perfectly healthy, baby perfectly healthy. But God said when she came there to offer me that insurance policy that I needed to do that. I heard his voice so clear. I had no reason at all to do this. But I did it. I obeyed God, and I took out that insurance plan. It didn't cost a lot. I thought, we can do this for a few months. I'm sure everything will be fine, but I'm just going to go ahead and obey. Well, it came. Time went along, and all of a sudden, we had a baby that came, and he came 6 weeks early, and we had no reason for this to happen. Everything was perfectly fine, like I'd said before. So this insurance plan that I took out paid for the entire hospital bill. We did not have anything that we had to do at all, which was a miracle. It was 2 days in the neonatal intensive care unit. It was 8 days in the step-down unit after that. He was born 6 weeks early, premature, but really and truly had very little wrong with him, but yet still had to stay in the hospital that amount of time. So I saw how I heard the voice of God. God provided for us. And then, of course, time went on. We came home. Time went on. You have a new child. You accumulate a lot of things, it seems like. We didn't have any, we needed another place to store a lot of things. So we heard the voice of God. We were going to build a shed. So we built this shed, wanted it to be nice. We had the funds at the time to do it. Things progressed along. We needed, more finances to complete it, whatever. And all of a sudden, we get a check in the mail from this same insurance company giving money back to us for this, and it was the exact amount we needed to pay for the rest of the shed. So we saw 2 things in that, how God so provided for us, and we're just, we know nothing. We're just hearing the voice of God and trusting him, and he took care of us completely. Another scripture I want to share is in Proverbs 3:5, and it says, "Lean on, trust in, and be confident in the Lord with all your heart and mind, and do not rely on your own insight or your understanding. We can, again, hear God's voice and not know why, not understand it. And, maybe it doesn't even, you go to your mind with it. It doesn't make sense at the time. But if you just obey, God honors that, and He takes care of you completely. There's another scripture in Hebrews that says, it's talking about Abraham again, how God was telling him to go to a certain place, and he didn't know why necessarily. He just heard the voice of God and he obeyed. And it says that he did not trouble his mind about what God spoke to him to do. Most of the time, if we go to our sense and reason, after we've heard the voice of God, we may cut it off. We may not even follow through and obey Him. And that really, it goes even in everyday things. I know I've had times it's been something just as simple as hearing the voice of God to stop and fill my car up with gas at that time. I may not know that we might need to leave town and go somewhere or take somebody somewhere at the time. And if I don't go ahead and obey and do it, I may get busy doing something else. Here it is, it gets to be late at night, and I realize I don't have gas. You have to go back and repent. Ask Jesus to forgive you for not doing that, because you don't want your heart to get hardened to where you will not hear His voice and obey Him. I had something else happen where the house I lived in at one time, the water that we had there at the house came from a well. And we would have water, and then there would be a day maybe that we didn't have water. Then the water would come back on. Then we would go at time, we would have water again, and then maybe for half a day we wouldn't have water. So I just went to Jesus. Jesus, what is the problem? What's going on with this? And I heard so clear, it's an electrical problem. Well, I know nothing about wells. I know nothing about water going to a house. Rich here is the one works on all that. He can tell you things. I know nothing. So I just heard it so clear. It's an electrical problem. It's an electrical line going to the house from that well. That's the problem. So I had a guy come out to repair it, look at it. He checked everything out, said, no, I don't see a problem. There's really no reason for you not to have water. So we went along, and the next time it went out, it really went out. We went more than one day with no water. So I had the same guy, I knew him. He was a friend of mine. I had him come out to look at it again, and I said, I've just got to tell you this. I don't know anything about these things, but I feel like it has something to do with the electricity, with an electrical line coming from the well to the house or whatever. I don't even know. So he said, okay, I'll check that out this time. So he dug that line up, he saw where the electrical line was, pulled it up, and sure enough, there'd been a break in that line. He said, looks like this has been a problem for a while. So that was the problem all along, and I knew nothing. But I heard the voice of God say, it's an electricity problem. So, we can't go to our mind when we hear the voice of God. We just need to simply obey. God has hold of our lives. He so takes care of us, and we can trust Him.
Something, and maybe you'll remember this, Rain, but when you were talking about John Mark, I remembered a time when we had given him some cough medicine.
Yeah.
And he'd had an allergic reaction to the cough medicine, crying, screaming, crying.
For hours.
And we'd called the poison control. We'd called everybody. And all they said was, it's not going to kill him or anything. It just takes time to go through his system. But he cried and he cried. And I would pick him up and I'd hold him. And as long as I was praying, he stopped. And I'd think, okay, he's all right. I'd start to lay him down. And he'd start crying again. So I'd pick him up and I'd walk with him. He's still crying. I said, Jesus, what do I do? What do I do? And the Lord spoke and said, pray strong, pray for him. And as long as I prayed, he was totally peaceful. I did that for hours. Mm-hmm. And, to hear the voice of God for your children is just, we'd have sat there. If we wouldn't have heard the voice of God, we'd have sat there and he'd have cried and been tormented all night long.
Right.
So, but anyways, I just remembered that, and I wanted to, bring that up because you were talking about him again. And, there's different avenues that, God speaks to us all the time. I mean, speaking to us all the time. He wants us to have that relationship with him. He wants us to hear his voice and obey. And, there's times when, and I'm going to use me as an example. And, I said I do remodeling, and, there's different things. Just like the other day, I was priming these walls in this house, and I'd finished one room and I'd went to the other room. And when I was in the other room, I had a thought that came that, you got to cover up that fireplace. You got to build a frame around it and put a board around it and paint it and put trimming around it and, make it look nice. And so I stopped what I was doing, and I went in there and I started to, get my measurements and everything. And the Lord spoke to me and said, I didn't tell you to do that. And that's how the devil tries to pull us off task, off what God has said, to distract us, to make things not flow, things not work out the way it should. At every point in our lives, God is speaking to us. He loves us so much. He wants to have that relationship with us. And, I know that in Philippians, Paul said, my determined purpose is to know him. And that was at the end of Paul's, ministry, that he was saying that, his determined purpose. And our determined purpose is to know him at every point in our lives, whether it's for us personally or whether it's for our children or whether it's for someone else. Another situation that came up just the other day is my son and I were at this house working, and a guy came in to work on the air conditioner. And, I had, God was just prompting me, telling me, that, this was, we needed to minister to this guy. And so, I was outside and I was trying to do something, and I told him, I said, well, I didn't hear the voice of God to do that, so I'm going to have to come back in and do this. Well, that opened the door for us to be able to share with him at every point. And, he stood there and cried. I mean, John Mark really poured out his heart to him, sharing all the different things that, God had done for him and he'd done for us. And the guy just stood there and he said, this is incredible. I am so grateful that you guys have shared this with me. And our whole message today is that we want you to inquire of God and to hear his voice at every point.
We so appreciate you listening today. Thank you so much. What an honor to be with you. You can hear these programs on WCAB on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings from 8:30 to 9. You can also go to our website, wordoffaithfellowship.org, and listen to all of our previous programs. Thank you so much. We love you.
Thank you.
The best of both worlds. WCAB 100.9 FM, 590 AM. Playing the classic oldies.